Alright, so in today's task, what we are going to do is to change this one basically. So it's to change the label to a darker color. At the moment, it's on a yellowish color and the text is white when the Nova score is low. Like for instance here, it's only 2. And if we go to the simulator, just here, we can, I will open the simulator, yeah, that way, and we can see that in action. So there, if we click there, there's no Nova score there, but if we go to another date, probably, no, not there. What I'm going to do is to scan one item. So what I'm going to do in this app, yes, so that's our desktop. So we're going to change actually the config of the app, and in our case we are going to change this one to 100, so we will not have the paywall. And that way I'm going to add a new meal gallery, and then on the gallery we just have to wait, and here I'm going to have this omelette eggs. Amazing. I think they are, of course, if we don't have internet, just going to turn on the Wi-Fi, and once we have the Wi-Fi, it will be able to make a request to our API. Once the API gives back the results, we are going to display the results with the Nova score, and so the Nova score will have like 2, for instance, and we'll be able now after to ask our AI of VS Code in this case, and it will change the color to something a little bit darker. So basically what I plan to do is to have a darker shadow. That would be the best option. I do have internet now, so I will try again, and I snap this photo, this image. Just need to wait, and so we have this image, so that works. I will take a photo just so I can have as well, as a little memory. So that's a photo, so that's done. And now what I'm going to do, you see here it's 3, so when it's red, that's fine. But again, when it's like yellowish, it's not. So now let's open Copilot here, and the Nova label is just there. Yes, so that's one. So it's in food label tsx. So I'm going to add that file. It's funny that before I used to do everything by myself, and now I'm just using, I'm getting help of Copilot, but mostly only. And before it was everything by myself, like not really. Someone who is used to have another colleague or another engineer, which is like AI Copilot. It's always very interesting to change and to move to a new way, a new improvement, a new way of developing web application. And in our case, it's a React native application, so it's a mobile application hybrid, because we could also have this one published on Android store as well, but in my case I decided to only focus on iOS, because you always have compatibility issues on Android and iOS. You have to test on both devices, and it's always a bit painful. And also I'm using the symbol, the SV. That's a very interesting one actually. I will quickly show it to you before we continue. So if we go to package sun, and this one, so the SF symbols, and that's only available for iOS because it's the official icons on Apple. On everything like that is Apple. Actually, it's published by Apple, so you will find the same icons on any official apps on Mac, iPhones, iPads, and so on. So that's the SF symbols. And actually, if we go there, we can just do done. We have it, and amazing. I will show it to you on Safari. That's the one, and that's actually the one I use. The package I do use is that one. If we go back there, and we can look here, that's this one. See, so it's only iOS. It will not be available on Android whatsoever. And I forgot actually what it stands for. I think it's San Francisco SF8. I knew it, but yes, San Francisco. Yeah, that's the name. Why is SF? Anyways, so now we can go here. So that's where we added to the file. So the other ones, actually, we can just remove them so it will just have less context. We don't need all of the other files. So just need to get rid of the other one and label. Perfect. Yeah, we have that one anyway, so that's perfect. Food label. When the label background is white, yellowish, the shadow color should be darker to read clearer, because otherwise it's yellowish and the white is too white, because the text is white and background yellowish can be hard to read. And so the Nova is there. Nova label just here, so we can just copy paste that one. But actually it will be a CSS change, so it will be inside Nova color, Nova container. It will be in there. We can just do that, and now we can see what we get as an answer. Here now for this example is perfect. We can read properly, but when it's like yellowish, it will not be. I should have something where we can actually manually change also the score, but yeah, if we do have Nova, is it Nova classification? Nova classification, it's in there. I wonder why. Why this one's, yeah. We can just hardcode, because this is how it gets the color gets written. Oh, that's yeah, that's that one actually. Sorry, get Nova shadows. So that one is a label text in a utils folder. It's basically like a helper file. So all of them are like helper files in the utils folder. And so 2 is like the yellowish one. Yeah. In my case it was 2 anyway, the number you can see. So here it will get better. We can continue running it. So here it checks also if there are no TypeScript errors with no emit TSC. So just check that. And we just continue, no TypeScript errors, that's fine. And we continue, so we just let Copilot doing its job. It's perfect. Food label, I'm just looking here where it's been used. Only meal prediction was used there. That's interesting. So basically these ones are not used. A food label, that's yeah. I might have to remove actually these ones, because they are not used at all. And we can see meal details. It's a bit small, but you see, it's not used. So actually, I will maybe remove that as a cleanup. And so I can also remove these of the props definition, all of these, since we don't use them, we only use the meal prediction objects. and perhaps it's been used in here. Yeah, beautiful. So that's just a cleanup. We just cleaned the definition, the signature of the function. The signature is basically where we have the arguments, like here, mid prediction. Perfect. So this should be pretty much done now. That's nice. So we have the shadow, opacity, we have the evaluation, the shadow radius. So increase from 6 to 8. Now the comments, it adds comments, specific AI comments we don't need. So increase, or was it there? Yes, these comments we don't need in foot label, so we can just remove that. That one too we can remove. Android shadow support we can remove too. We don't need all of them. So increase, remove, perfect. And ensure valet stays what I want. Yeah, that one we can leave actually. Android, I just mentioned this app is only for iOS. Do we need evaluation? Part of Nova container. See, maybe we don't need that. And yeah, that will be all actually. They need to be all done. Perfect. So let's see what it changes. Yeah, it removed actually, so we don't need. It removed the evaluation. Since your app is iOS only, the evaluation property was redundant. Sometimes it's nice to check also online, but evaluation, I believe it's fine because I've never used evaluation actually elsewhere when I defined the style of the app, of an app. So now we can check that by hard coding the Nova classification. So we can just say that the Nova classification was to it's better but not perfect. And so now if we do 1 is amazing, 4 is, well, yeah, 4 is this, 2 yeah, it's still not perfect actually. So I will take a screenshot and we can just upload it there. Maybe the background yellowish should be changed because it's still hard to read. Indeed, it's even worse, I would say, than what I had on my you see on my screenshot. I would say it's worse. So let's get something a bit better. Let's see how we can have it better. But yeah, and again with AI you always have to be careful because a lot of times it adds redundant things, like things you don't need actually, and it will make the app heavier, less optimized. From time to time it will remove unused files, but so it feels like it's optimizing everything. You say, oh wow, it's removing files I don't need. Yes and no, because it would also do things you actually don't need, or like redundant checks or things like this, things that are not needed. So you always need to be very careful of if it's accurate or not. I prefer this. This is much better. Yes, that's great. The background color is now perfect. Can you then reset the shadow to the same as the others like before to be consistent, since now the background color is easy to read? Okay, so because I think now the shadow is a bit too much, the dark shadow, and yeah, that will be all actually. We'll be all done, so that's a really exciting news. So that's actually the redundant arguments we removed, the parameters of foot label. So I will already commit that change, remove redundant unused params of food label. I will just have a prefix here, food label. What we can do also for committing our code, we can generate a commit automatically there. That's also a good thing you can do. But in my case, I don't really like the message that is AI generated. It's not really accurate. And I believe commit messages are very important. And actually, if you're interested, I have an article about commit messages and the importance of having good commit messages. Git commit, that one, outstanding Git practices, if you're interested to. And there I do share why it's so important to have good and what kind of commit messages you should have. So yeah, it's there. Alright, so now we have the new changes there. And here we can check the shadow opacity. Yeah, I do prefer that one. It's nicer. So darker green, yeah, I like it. For Nova, you see again, this comment is not really that important, but it's good to know still. Like it's a nice comment, but I think now we can remove that comment. Consistent shadow for all. You see that comment again is not needed. So with AI, you always have to be careful what kind of comment we have automatically. And now I will do again the prefix food label, make Nova 2 BG color, so background color. So we can say darker green instead of the yellowish one we had. So because again, now I really like now how we can read. It's so much better, much easier. Wow. So yeah, yellowish, darker yellowish, so darker green instead of greenish. And the reason why, because this way it is more readable. Why I mention a reason? Because again, like here, it's always nice to have a reason. The motivation behind the change. That's very important. The reason, the motivation behind the change. I suggest you to have a look to my guideline of having amazing Git commit. It's really helpful later on when you have to debug. Also mentioning the ticket ID if you work on ticket like Jira, like Trello, or Asana, or any tools like that. It can be also super handy, or like Monday, or Monday.com. Perfect. So here, that way, that's done. Beautiful. So I would say it's all done, and we can test the other ones. The 3, third, yeah, that's perfect. 4, yes. 1, yeah, perfect. Amazing. So I don't need to commit to that. I don't want. So we can just remove. I will just do git checkout and like this, just to reset, and perfect. Now it's all done. So yeah, we have done an amazing job, and I will be able to publish that to the App Store. And yeah, you see, that's the task I had. So I can just tick it, and yeah, it's all done now. And I can also remove my screenshot. So we have done a really good job, and yeah, I feel like this. If we look at our commits, like the change, it's clean here. That's the cleanup. So that's the previous commit actually. So the change was actually really small, but very efficient, because now it's so much easier to read. Have a happy AI coding day.